Hey there, folks. This is Richard Newman, the voice of Captain Ginyu and M. Bison, Cranky Doodle Donkey, and Franklin the Turtle's dad, as well as Rhinox from Beast Wars. And you are watching In Conversation with Amber the Fangirl, ATF. Enjoy. And don't forget to stop and smell the flowers.
Hi guys, Amber here. Welcome back to In Conversation with ATF. Now, at the moment, I'm feeling very under the weather. Yeah, I tested positive for COVID, so yeah, there probably won't be a lot of interviews out around this time, but it will just come and go as they please. But do bear with me at this moment in time. But that's not the main concern. It's not even a concern. It's more of another. Excuse me. It's more of an event. So this is an interview with a guest who has voiced many cartoon characters, including Rhinox in Beast Wars, Vector Prime in Transformers Cybertron, and Bison in the Street Fighter cartoon, Toadborg in Bucky O'Hare, Two-Ton in Bob the Builder, the 2015 series, the American dub, I believe. Am I correct?
That's correct. I kind of wondered why they did that even, because I mean, English and American, it's the same language basically. I mean, I understand why we dub into English or American from German, but I didn't understand why we were dubbing from British English into American English. Anyway, it was a gig. It was fun. I
Yeah,
enjoyed doing
they
it.
did that with the original Bob as well, so it
Yes,
wasn't a
yes,
new thing. Also Cranky Doodle Donkey in My Little Pony, The
yes.
Friendship is Magic. Mr. Turtle in Franklin, the Turtle Franklin. Oh man, I grew up watching that show.
Oh,
Such a good time.
lovely. I think
Yeah.
that show made me a better parent, actually.
Oh
Be
yeah,
play,
because you're a dad as well, aren't you?
I am a dad, and in fact, I got that job when my child was little more than a year old. So it like I grew up as a parent with that show, and yeah, it definitely made me a better parent. I loved the fact that Franklin's folks always let him figure it out. They never gave him the information. They never pushed him in any direction. They just kind of made sure he was safe and let him figure it out. And that became sort of my go-to as a parent.
That sounds lovely. My guest is the one and only Richard Newman. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to be meeting you finally.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you too, even if it is through a screen.
Well, yes, but I mean, this is how we meet these days, right? This
Yeah.
is this
hmm
is this is the COVID social life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the new normal, I guess.
Yep, it is. It is indeed. Mind,
Yeah.
mind you, plus we live a few miles away from each other.
Yeah, you're in Vancouver?
Vancouver, Canada. Yes, indeed. A beautiful city, just beautiful. Got mountains up here and ocean down there, and
Wow.
it's just
Aw.
gorgeous. I haven't been all over the world, but of all the places that I have been, this is about the prettiest place I've ever been. So yeah,
Aw.
quite happy to live here. It's
And I'm
very
stuck here in
expensive.
England. Oh, is it?
It's
Wow.
very expensive, but
Ooh, dang
I
it.
mean, you pay for what you want, you know.
Yeah.
Although I love England, I the first time I was in England, which was in 1980, I was there with the Children's Theatre Company, and we toured Britain and we toured Germany. And I would have loved to have stayed if I'd had an English grandparent. I was actually offered a job, a theater job, but I didn't have a work permit. I just had the visa from coming over from Canada.
Ah.
So unfortunately, I couldn't stay, or I'd be there to this day because it really is where theater happens. I mean, the British theater is extraordinary, and you guys are so lucky.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm studying performing arts at college at the moment. We just did a performance of It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, lovely.
We were meant to have 10 shows. That got cut down to 5 because we were so behind on rehearsals. Then we only
Right.
did 2 because most of the cast got COVID.
Oh
I
gosh,
wasn't
of
one of them
course.
though. I got through it, and yeah, I've managed to avoid it, and then now I've got it.
Now,
So
bam. Yeah, exactly. Well, they say that we're all going to get it. This one we're all going to get, but as long as we're vaccinated, it shouldn't hurt us too badly. So
yeah, yeah. So how are you, Richard?
I'm really well. I'm surprised at how well I am, actually. Um, This has been a hard 2 years because there hasn't been a lot of work. And, for those of us who live to work, as I sort of do, I love what I do for a living. So the last couple of years has been pretty tough in that regard. But I have my health. I love where I live. I have a lovely house and with a garden and a creek that runs through the property that I live on and stuff. So it's been a great place to be quarantined if and I have had the chance to see my kid a couple of times over the course of the pandemic. I've gone to New York once and they've come to Vancouver a couple of times.
So is it just you and your wife who live at home then?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. When I say they, Sage is non-binary and uses they, them pronouns. So I'm doing my best to go there.
No, what I was going to say was when you're speaking in that context, I just presumed, oh yeah, it's just you and your wife who live in Vancouver, and then.
Well, I am unmarried. In fact, Sage's mother lives in Toronto, which is right across the country for me. But no, so I live me and my cat.
Oh.
Sage got me a rescue cat last Christmas as a Christmas present. A sort of a not quite Russian blue. And in Sage's honor, since Sage lives in Brooklyn, we have called her Brooklyn. So
Brooklyn the cat. Wow.
Brooklyn the cat.
What sort of cat is Brooklyn? Is
well,
tabby,
she's
Siamese?
She's she looks like a Russian blue. She's got that kind of beautiful gray blue color, but she's not a full-blooded Russian blue because she does shed, and I'm allergic to cats, so I sneeze. But I keep her out of the bedroom, which doesn't make her happy. But I got to have one room that I can breathe in, right? So
yeah.
But she's a very interesting cat. She's not terribly friendly, but that's kind of okay because I'm allergic. Occasionally, she will jump up on the daybed close enough to me to actually have a bit of a pet. Mm-hmm. And when she's done, I have to really be aware of the fact she's done because she'll take a piece out of my arm.
Oh, that doesn't sound too great.
Well, she's a moody cat, but of course that I think comes with the territory.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say because I was wondering, was Sage your only child, or did you have any?
Sage is my only birth child.
Oh, right.
However, Sage has a sort of older half sister, not half sister, but the daughter of a woman that I dated lived with for a couple of years, and Emily became my child over the 2 years that I lived with her mother, and is still basically one of my kids.
Oh, so, I get it. Okay.
So it's like not exactly adopted, but yeah.
Yeah, like sort of stepdaughter, something like that.
Exactly. I've been parenting her since she was 16, and she will be, oh my God, she'll be 50 in the summer.
You'll be 50?
Yes, I know.
Oh,
whereas my birth child is only going to be 26 in a couple of days.
26? Oh, sorry, just bear with me while I do the math.
Yeah.
Right. So Sage is going to be, how old did you say?
Sage will be 26 at the end of January. Right. And Emily will be 50 in July.
So she was born in 96?
96,
So when you were doing Beast Wars? Okay.
In fact, the day that Sage was born, they were born at 5:45 in the morning. By 9 o'clock, I was in my car headed for a recording studio to do a couple of episodes of Sky Surfer Strike Force, left there to go to another recording studio to do an episode of Beast Wars. And from there went to the rehearsal for the opening night of a production of King Lear that I was doing at the same time.
Wow.
Yes, it was quite an exciting day, a brilliant day, in fact. One's child is born. I did 2 recording sessions and opened a play.
Wow.
Yeah, fun.
And I'd like to go back to what you said before. I love how you said you're trying to I can't remember what you exactly said, like kind of like discover or, learn more about non-binary people.
Oh, absolutely. Well, here's the thing is that we support our kids.
Yeah.
I saw a movie called Disclosure. It's a very interesting movie about trans people in the arts. And one trans woman, her named Jen Richards, who I'll never forget this story.
Mm-hmm.
She said her mother told her to her face, said, "I will never call you Jen because Jen killed my son. And you can't come to your grandmother's deathbed unless you dress like a boy." And I thought to myself, who wins in that situation? What is that just seemed so foolish to me, to sort of say, if you're not going to live your life according to my rules, I don't want to know you. It's, how do you do that to your child? You know, I don't get it. So no, when Sage discovered their non-binary nature, the first thing they did was come to me and say, "This is what's going on in my head." And I said, "Okay, show me information, give me information, let me know what's going on." And they actually sent me a t-shirt, which I love wearing, which says "Proud parent of a non-binary child." So I have been doing as much research as I can and learning about everything that's going on in the world of gender, and you know, trying to keep an open mind and an open heart, which I think as a human being, it's a good idea to do, but certainly as an artist, it's absolutely essential. And as a parent, it's absolutely essential. Open mind, open heart.
I respect you, Richard. My respect has just gone up for you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I mean, I just can't see any other way to do it. You know, it's like, I don't have all the answers. I'm just a bozo on this bus like everybody else, you know. So
you're the big daddy.
Well, I take the responsibility seriously. I mean, you know, there are human beings who have looked to me for, you know, this is the way the world should work, and it's an awesome responsibility. It really is.
I agree. So let's start off with the book. Well, I know we've technically started then, but let's kind of sort of flow into the voiceover questions.
Sure, absolutely.
How did you get your start in voiceover?
Well, okay. When I was, in theater school in San Francisco in 1969, I got a job recording. Now, it seems to me it was like this alphabet thing. But it was this alphabet thing that was led by a Sherlock Holmes character. And I was hired to be the Dr. Watson and every other character that you could possibly think of, because I could do a lot of different voices. So this was just a recording session, and it went on for a while. And I had a good time doing that. And then basically, but that wasn't like where I was focused. I was focused on theater. I was in Miami in 1986 doing a couple of plays. And one of the guys I was working with worked in a recording studio, dubbing from Spanish into English, and he brought me in to start doing that stuff as well. And in those days, they didn't have any of the kind of technology they have now. When you were looking at the screen, and when the cartoon character or the actor opened his mouth, you opened your mouth, and hopefully you were done talking when they were done talking. And if not, then you did it again and again until you got it right. So I learned without any of the technological things that we have now. Now we have beeps, and we have crawls, and we have, you know, all these cues to tell us when to start and when to stop. So back in the, when would it have been? Late 80s, I guess. Late 80s, early 90s, when the voiceover thing started really taking off here in Vancouver, I had a leg up because I'd been doing it without all the technological things. So it became really not easy, but easier for me to get into that end of the business. So that's sort of how it started. And I mean, with anything else, you audition and you audition and you audition, and you don't get anything, you don't get anything. And finally somebody says, "Oh yeah, you." And once you get in, it's like, it builds, right? So it has been a real godsend. I don't care much for film and TV work. It's really hurry up and wait stuff. And it also, because film and TV, when you're doing film and TV, they don't want to let you go at 6 o'clock so you can go do your theater piece. They don't want you to be doing anything else. So because I love theater so much, the film and TV thing kind of got in my way. Whereas the recording industry, it doesn't matter what you look like. and basically you're in the studio in the morning and you're doing your theater thing at night. So it was to fall into the voiceover thing was just perfect for me because it was a really easy way to, kind of make sure that the rent was paid when I wasn't doing theater.
Yeah. I mean,
I hope that answered your question.
yeah, it did. I was going to say, because you grew up, and it says logged on the internet, you were born in America, but then you ended up in Vancouver.
That's correct.
How did you get? How did you sort of, end up there?
Well, when I was in at theater school in San Francisco, I met a Canadian girl, and we fell in love, and we got married. So I came up here to check things out at one point. I had gone from theater school in San Francisco to the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, and Carol had come back up to Canada. So I had a bit of a break at one point, went up to Canada to visit and see what was going on, auditioned for this children's theater company, and they hired me. So in August of 1970, I came up to do my first professional theater gig.
Wow.
And I thought that it was just the first job of many, and that I'd, be in Canada for a while and then be back in the States or whoever. But I've actually wound up just staying here for the last 50 years. I have worked in the States on occasion, but I've been living in Canada since, August of 1970.
Wow.
Truly.
Have you been to Los Angeles before?
I have. In fact, when I first got into voice work, a couple of the directors that I was working with suggested that I come back to LA because I'm American, and LA is where a lot of the voice stuff happened. So my then girlfriend and I went down to LA and looked around a bit, and I just went, you know what? I don't think I can live here. It's too big. It's too busy. I don't want to spend my life driving on the freeway. So I came back up to Vancouver.
Wise choice.
Lifestyle has always been very important to me. One of the reasons I moved to the West Coast was I was born in Chicago and raised in the Midwest, and I just wanted snow to leave me. I wanted to leave snow behind.
Yeah.
I could live someplace where it doesn't snow ever and be really, really happy. Now, Vancouver is not that place, especially not this year. We had an amazing snowstorms this year, but it is usually quite a bit mellower than the rest of Canada. So,
yeah. What shows did you grow up watching? Like kids shows, normal daytime shows?
Yeah, I think when you ask that question, the first thing that pops into my mind is Rocky and Bullwinkle, which I loved, and in fact, I'm a big fan of the movie. Which a lot of people don't like, but I loved the film. I just thought it really captured the spirit of the cartoon that I remembered watching when I was a kid. I liked the Warner Brothers cartoons. I liked, Roadrunner and Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and those guys. Not the Disney so much. Disney was a little too white bread for me, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But when I was growing up, America was consumed with the Western. So, it was Have Gun Will Travel and Gunsmoke and Bonanza and all those shows about a Wild West that never really existed.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that going on as well. And then I went away to college and didn't have a television for many, many years because I just wasn't interested in the things that were on it. And then, of course, got into the television industry. So kind of had to start watching it again to see what I was working in.
Yeah. Wow. I see. Well, yeah, Rocky and Bullwinkle. You know who June Frey and Bill Scott are, right? The voices of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Oh, sure, of course.
I did a documentary on Bill Scott.
Did you?
Yeah, 2 hours long.
Oh my gosh.
Full of research. I loved every second of it. I spoke to lots of voice actors for it. I think I spoke to Ian James Collette for it. He was really nice about it.
Jimmy. Yes.
Do you call him Jimmy?
Well, no, it's a thing that happens in the studio.
Oh, right.
He is Ian, but he's often in the studio called Jimmy. But we all have strange little names for ourselves in the studios.
Oh, bless you. I was going to say, what about Gary Chalk and David Kay? Do they have any nicknames?
Well, Gary and David are, they're two of the best. I just adore both of them as individuals and as actors. we've worked together on so many projects. Gary and I actually did a version of Henry IV Part 1 together back in 1980.
Oh, wow.
And David, and oh gosh, I can't think of, I think David was probably in Bucky O'Hare, or not Bucky O'Hare, what am I thinking? Exo Squad, and maybe Firestarters, I'm not sure. Anyway, so many things. But no, I like them both very much, and they're both very, very talented men. David, of course, now lives in Los Angeles and has done very, very well for himself. Gary, like me, kind of just, oh no, I'm just going to stay in Vancouver and have a quiet little life. You guys in Los Angeles, have a good time. Go ahead. No problem. Not for me.
Yeah, I'd love to come to Vancouver sometime. It seems really nice, especially with the snow.
You must. I'll show you around.
That's a deal.
I love showing people my city. I love showing people around.
That is a deal. Definitely. When I come over to your little, is it a city? Is that what Vancouver is?
Yeah, Vancouver is the third biggest city in Canada, after Toronto and Montreal.
Wow, I didn't know that. Where does Quebec.
So basically, Quebec is the furthest east large province before you get to the 4 maritime provinces.
I see.
Which are peninsulas and islands off the east coast of Canada. So Quebec is great, big, huge province, and then Ontario is next to Quebec, and Saskatchewan, or Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, BC.
I see.
There are 10 provinces in Canada and 2 territories, or 3 territories now, I should say.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for explaining.
Your geography lesson for today.
You sounded a bit like Megatron there.
That's interesting. I played Megatron in one episode.
Energon.
Yes. And the only thing, and I still don't really understand why this happened, I have to assume David was out of town. Because like Gary played Optimus in pretty much every version of Transformers.
Yeah, like the Unicron trilogy. That's what they call Armada, Energon, and Cybertron.
So and David played Megatron in everything except Energon, and it was like really weird that they asked me to do it because I don't think I sound anything like David. But
I listened to the voice clip before. You sound very similar.
Well, there you are. I guess maybe I sound more like him than I think I do.
Yeah, I'll have to see if I can try and find it. But while I find it, I'd like to ask you, how did you end up on Transformers Beast Wars? What was the audition like for it?
Oh, gosh. That's interesting. Interestingly enough, usually I'm the guy who plays the bad guy. Mm-hmm. I'm the do not fail me guy. I mean, Bison and Captain Ginyu and Phaeton, Pyron, all these really, do not fail me. That sort of, In fact, when I auditioned for Franklin in Toronto, the auditioner, I was doing Angels in America. I'd gone to Toronto to do Angels in America. Mm-hmm. And when the show opened, I called the various studios and said, so this is me. I'm from Vancouver. I'm a voice actor. If you need anything. Well, the casting director at Nelvana went, oh, yeah, no, I know you. You did this and this and this and this. And I was quite surprised. And she said, so we're auditioning this thing. It's not for you, but come in and meet the people. Come in and meet the folks.
Good thing she just said that as well, because it could have been a totally different story.
Exactly. So I went in, and of course, here I am reading the Mega Father, and all I could do, I said, well, I guess I'll just pretend I'm talking to Sage. Aww. And I got the gig, right? So it was quite funny. But that wasn't the question you asked. This is what happens. I just off into left field somewhere.
That's fine. I do the same thing.
What you did ask, I can't remember now.
How did you?
Oh, how I got the Beast Wars audition.
What was the audition like for Beast Wars?
Well, I thought I was auditioning for Megatron. Because that would usually have been the role that I would have been cast as. Maybe I might have been cast as the hero, never as the kind of hero's best friend. So it was the three of us all wound up with roles that we wouldn't normally wind up with, David, Gary, and I. And that was part of the fun, was, oh my gosh, I never get to play this kind of a character. This is going to be really neat. And I so much enjoyed what David and Gary did with the two characters that normally I might have played. So yeah, we just had such a good time doing that show. It was just a ball all the way along, and a bunch of other really fine actors, Ian and Scott and Doug Parker and Don Brown and Pauline, Venus Terzo. I mean, Alec
And Blue
Willows. My God, I'm going to forget
Tigertron.
every. Pardon?
And Blue Mancuba. Tigertron.
And Blue, absolutely.
And Blue
No,
as
there
well.
were just a really great bunch of folks. And every time there was a session, it was kind of, oh, good, I get to do this again and work with these folks.
Yeah, and also the Michael, I think, was Michael Donovan in it? I think, I don't know, but I know he has two brothers.
Mike, oh, you don't mean you mean Dobson.
Yeah, Dobson, yeah.
Dobson. Michael Donovan is another wonderful voice actor and director from Vancouver who lives in LA now.
Michael Dobson's
Conan.
British. I didn't realize.
Oh well, they were born in Britain, but they've lived in Canada for most of their lives. Michael, Paul, and
Brian.
Brian. Thank you.
I'm having a look at their Wikipedia. I don't think they were in Beast Wars. They were only in the Unicron trilogy.
Right.
Yeah, because Brian
Now,
was...
Paul played, help me a second.
You said various characters.
When Rhinox wasn't Rhinox, Tankor in the Beast Machines.
Yeah.
So that was Paul Dobson who played Tankor.
Yeah.
So he was actually in the Beast Wars series at one point.
And I know Michael Dobson as the voice of Starscream in the Transformers Armada and the Unicron trilogy.
Right.
Yeah, and Brian was Red Alert, I believe. I might be wrong. Yeah, he was Red Alert, and then Paul, I don't know. I'm having a look now. Wait. It's just because you're scrolling through so much Wikipedia pages, you don't exactly know who was who and what. It doesn't really say. Well, hang on. Could be in the anime. Yeah, he was Sideways and Nemesis Prime in Transformers Armada. So are they triplets or are they just brothers? Because
they are brothers.
Oh, right.
They certainly are brothers.
Oh, I see.
The Dobson boys.
That must be so cool though. Just all three of them working on the same.
It's really neat. I mean, it's almost scary when the three of them are in studio together because they know each other so well and they tease each other mercilessly.
The thing is, do they sound alike? Like their normal voices?
Nothing.
Really?
Nothing alike. They all have very, very different sounding voices, which is really interesting. And then the voices that they do, they don't cross over. They each of them have their own their own stable of voices, which is wonderful. Yeah. Very, very talented bunch and nice guys. I mean, that's the wonderful thing about, I just have enjoyed so much the people that I've worked with in this industry because they're all having fun. We're all just kids who refuse to grow up. Basically, that's what it is. It's like, what do we do for a living? We pretend to be other people. It's cops and robbers. That's what we do for a living.
Yeah. I've just found the Megatron voice clip from you. Is it you or David? You decide.
Your strategy was unusual, Scorponok, but it seemed to work in our favor this time. So you say you weren't aiming at me. You were only trying to make the mobile fortress fall on our enemies.
That's me.
You sound like David! I'm not gonna lie, when I heard that, I was like, they've got it wrong. That's David doing it, surely.
Oh, interesting. Okay, see, so that doesn't, to me, that doesn't sound like David, but then again, my ears are just, attuned to
the episode was Energon Grid.
Yeah,
that was the episode. I see. Yeah, it must have been David was unwell or out of town, but
I have to believe that he was out of town because otherwise I don't know. And with these ADR things, they have to have them all finished by X date, and so they decided to bring me in because I had, I guess, as close a voice to David as they were going to find.
Sure, they might have done a voice test, and they just assumed. I don't know, but you did.
Well, that's great.
Well,
I'm glad to hear it because I've always thought I didn't think that it worked. So if you think it did, then that actually makes me very happy.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely. Have you seen the original Transformers G1 cartoon?
I finally saw it at a convention. Gosh, was it either in Chicago or Toronto? I can't remember now. So either in 2015 or 2016, I finally saw it. And very interesting because, of course, the animation was so different
Yeah.
than the Beast Wars animation. And it took me a while to get into it. I mean, I basically had to really pay attention to the story because I found the animation not as exciting as the animation that we had done. Just, that's just my poor little old head. But yeah, I mean, it's just so much fun. And of course, now that I, having known a lot of the actors or having met a lot of the actors who were in the original Transformers, to hear it and see it was a lot of fun.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Definitely. So as we're on about Transformers, you returned, obviously, as I said, but we said before, you returned for Cybertron and Energon, which was about, I'd say, just nearly 10 years after Beast Wars
Something
started.
like that, probably,
what was it like
yeah,
to return
yeah.
to the franchise? What was it like to return?
Well, it's like old home week. It's like the thing about when we did Beast Wars, it was prelay. So we would do the voices, and we'd all be in the room like a radio play, like they used to do radio plays. We'd all be in the room, each of us at our own microphone, and we'd be working off each other.
Yeah.
With the subsequent ones, Energon and Cybertron, those were drawn in Japan, voiced in Japan, and then we revoiced them over here.
It's like an anime.
Exactly. So basically, when you're dubbing, you're in the room all by yourself, and all you're looking at is your lines. So
all alone.
Yeah, all alone.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's a bit more difficult because we don't see the whole script, so we don't really know what's going on. Occasionally, the director will say, "Okay, so this just happened and this just happened," and you're responding to that. Okay. So it's sort of best guess wins in a way. Dubbing is it's harder work than the prelay. It's not as much fun, and it doesn't pay as well. So there you have it. It's always fun. I mean, if I had come back to do Rhinox again, it would have been one thing, because that would have been revisiting a character that I had done before. But each of these pieces, I was going back into that world, but playing a different character. I mean, Vector Prime is basically Rhinox with an English accent when all is said and done. But of course, Megatron is a totally different character. So it was like, it wasn't like going back to something I had done before, because it was ADR as opposed to prelay, and it was different characters. But it was fun to get back into that world because, yeah, you sort of spent so many years doing it, and then you kind of, oh yeah, this is fun, back here again.
Yeah, it's sort of like back in the driver's seat.
Well, yeah, exactly. In that imaginary place, which is a really beautiful place. I mean, the world they have imagined there.
Well, Vancouver exists, so, I suppose it is real. A beautiful
There you
place.
go.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, you did record Beast Wars in Vancouver, am I right?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
So, yeah. And I'm presuming Susan Blue flew up there to record it, because she obviously lives in California.
Fly up. Yep, she would fly up from California every couple of weeks or whatever it was, and we'd do 3 or 4 episodes, and then off she'd go. A couple of weeks later, she'd come back, and we'd do another 3 or 4 episodes.
That's so cool. What was she like to work with as a voice director?
Oh, brilliant. I mean, she's smart, she's kind, she's clear, and she's clever. And she's been doing it forever. So she just knows her way around the script. She knows her way around the studio. It was really lovely, because what you really want as an actor is to be able to trust your director. Because basically, just all I'm asking you to do, don't let me look like a fool, okay? Then I'll be really happy. And she is so trustworthy. She's been doing it forever, and she knows her way. She just knows the business, and she's a sweetheart. I mean, she's a nice person, which goes a long way too. You just really want to do your best when you're working with somebody like that.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself, definitely. That's coming from a person who's interviewed her, I agree. I need to catch up with her. I did promise to catch up with her this new year, so after you just
Yeah,
remind
we
me, I have
haven't
to give her a
spoken.
text
I
back.
every so often I'll send her a happy birthday or a Merry Christmas or something, but we haven't spoken in several years now. It'd be really nice to see her again.
Yeah, I hope she does a TF Nation over here. If she gets announced for TF Nation this summer, you bet I am gonna get a train down to Birmingham to go. I need to meet her so bad. I mean, they were gonna have Peter Cullen at TF Nation in 2020, but of course the pandemic.
There was no TF Nation. Yeah.
No.
I know it's been very hard the last couple of years because I really want to connect with the fans, and there's just nothing been going on. I'm hoping that within the next year or so, things will open up enough and I'll be able to start getting back out there. They'll be able to start doing, I mean, what do you call it? In Toronto, the Toronto conventions.
BotCon.
Yeah, is wonderful. Really, really nice.
Well, people. I think the BotCon's the one that's not licensed by Hasbro. I think that's the one that happens in America.
BotCon was, I think BotCon was the Hasbro, and they changed it or something.
And now
like
it's TFCon. They have one in LA. They have one in Nashville.
That's
Chicago.
TFCon is the one that I'm talking about. Yes,
right.
that's.
I think they had one in Toronto because I remember Frank Welker going to the one in 2015.
Right. That was the first one that 16, I went to was in Toronto.
Excuse me.
Right.
Yeah.
And TFCon. Colin. I'm so terrible with names. I can't believe it.
Peter Cullen.
And Peter Cullen. Yes. But no, I've not met Peter. We who knows? I may someday. We'll find out.
Yeah, I hope you do, definitely. I haven't met him. I've only met him virtually once, but I'm hoping to meet him when he comes back to England when it's a bit safer. Yeah, so, actually, here's a good question. Have you got any funny stories from recording Beast Wars with the rest of the cast?
It's funny. I mean, I don't remember anything specific about like an episode where this happened or that happened. I just have this sense of the fun that we had, the silliness, the games that we played within the studio. We used to, when we'd finish a page of script, someone would crumple up the page of script and wait for a pause and then throw it at one of the other actors in the room. And there was kind of this it was snowballs, except it was script balls that would happen between takes and things like that. Just the silly ways in which people would sort of keep their energy up. Scotty McNeil, who of course is this huge ball of energy with 7,000 voices and who's constantly just kind of bubbling over. Lots and lots of laughter, and occasionally, you know, a bit of a tear in the eye from a really nice bit of acting. But they were great sessions, and I so enjoyed them. It's always a sad thing when you go, okay, so that's it. This one is done. We're not doing this anymore. Oh, okay, that's too bad.
Yeah.
With Franklin, it was very interesting because we did like 65 half hours.
Why's my phone not working? Hold on, give me a minute. My phone's not responding. There we go. Go ahead.
We did 65 half hours of Franklin, and then they came up with a new animation, and then they decided to do another 65 episodes of Franklin. Plus, I mean, there's a couple of hundred half hours out there and 4 specials and all this stuff. So yeah, Mr. Turtle was, I guess I don't know if I've done any more sessions than I have for him.
Oh, bless you.
Good old Mr. Turtle. And I've got a Franklin doll sitting on my piano.
Oh, well, I didn't know you played piano. You're a pianist.
Well, my kid is really the piano player. I started learning to play piano when Sage started taking lessons. So I was in my mid-50s by the time I started playing piano. I'm a guitar player, but I do like the piano, and I say I play piano in the shower. So yes, but I've been playing music all my life. So I've been in a couple of rock bands, and I've done the folk music thing, and for the first few years when I was up here, I was going back and forth between, I'd play music for a couple of years and then get fed up with the music industry, and do theater for a couple of years and get fed up with the theater industry. I love the work. It's the industry that I don't like very much.
Oh.
But I still do. I still kind of move back and forth between music and well, theater, film. I don't do a lot of film, but I do a bit of film, television.
I see. Right. What was it like to attend BossCon in 2006? I know we kind of talked about this.
We talked a bit about it. I like I say, the real, I mean, that was my first convention.
Well, let me rephrase. What was it like to meet the fans of Beast Wars?
Yes. Well, that was really, I was so surprised by how important the show was to so many people.
Yeah.
And as I say, when I saw all these people in wheelchairs or with, physical challenges, and I thought of my younger brother who had polio when he was 3, and who dreams that he runs, but he hasn't run since he was 3 years old. It made me aware of how, of the dream that we were helping people to dream, and that was really neat. But it was also just all these wonderful folks. We got taken out to dinner. We got treated like royalty. It's I'm still kind of overwhelmed.
You're on top of the world.
Yeah, well, pretty much. Pretty much. I'm overwhelmed by the response that people have to what we do.
Yeah.
I'm humbled that we give folks some peace and an idea of what the world can be like. So yeah, I was quite surprised, impressed. I don't know what I expected. When you go to, I remember that William Shatner Saturday Night Live sketch about going to a convention, and I think it ended with William Shatner looking at these people all dressed in Star Wars or Star Trek costumes saying, "Get a life." And I just kind of thought, well, yeah, that's not very fair.
Sorry, shouldn't laugh.
No, it's okay. I've met doctors, engineers, teachers, military people, police, it's like folks who spend their year doing real work in the real world and then take their 2-week vacation to go to Toronto or New Zealand or Manchester to see their friends in the animation fandom. And it really impressed me. When I was in England, a young fella who was an engineer says to me, "I loved Beast Wars and I loved your character Rhinox. And because Rhinox was into science, I got into science and now I'm an engineer."
Oh, that's so sweet.
I know. I just kind of went, I can't believe that I was able to influence somebody's life that way. It almost makes me want to weep. It's like, yes, we're doing a job and we want to do the job as best we can. That's why not. If you're going to do something, do it well. But then to find out how it has affected other folks, it's like, I have no idea. It's just, it's like a dream come true to be able to, well, that's it. You want to leave a positive energy in the world.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what we've done. We've created some situations in which well, we've brought joy to people. We've brought awareness to people. And wow, with a cartoon. Okay, fine, great. Couldn't be happier.
You've pretty much just answered my last question, which was, why do you think Beast Wars has become so successful?
Well, and I think that's it. Part of it's the writing. The writing was very, very good. The animation is excellent.
CGI was one of the first use of CGI in a kids show.
Well, that's it. Exactly. the acting, it was really good. I mean, basically, just all the elements that were put into that project were really first rate. And it also speaks to, as I say, it speaks to the dream that people have of running when they can't run, of accomplishing things that are difficult, but there's a way to get through it. So, no, I think I'm surprised that 25 years later people still love it. But I'm also, I shouldn't say I'm surprised. It makes me scratch my head, but I kind of go, yeah, I get it. I understand why. And I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled that we were part of something that has this kind of legs.
What a beautiful way to end off this interview, Richard.
Well, thank you so much, Amber. It's been really great talking to you.
It's been lovely talking to you too. Do you have any projects you're working on at the moment? Are you retired? Are you still doing voice acting?
No, it's the lovely thing about my business is as long as you can walk, talk, and learn words, you don't have to retire. So I intend to be doing this. See, I have promised my kid that I will dance at their 50th birthday party. So I've got another 25 years to stay on the planet, and I intend to keep working. I love doing theater. There's a Shakespeare festival in Vancouver that I have been part of occasionally, and for the last 2 years, I have been meant to be part of the Summer Shakespeare Festival, but of course, it hasn't happened.
COVID.
So this year, I'm meant again to be a part of the festival, which will begin rehearsals in May, and the show will run until the end of September. So that is my big fond hope right now, is that will actually happen. And in the meantime, I'm auditioning for whatever cartoon things come along, and hopefully some of that will also come my way. I'm simply still a working actor. That's what I do.
You never fail to please me, Richard.
Sorry?
You never fail to please me, Richard.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Amber.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
You're
really
welcome.
A pleasure talking to you.
Lovely talking to you too. Where can we find you? So, promise, this is my last question. Where can we find you on social media?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm on. I have a Twitter account, but I don't really use it much. But I have a Facebook page, Richard Newman VO. And you can kind of contact me through that, or Facebook, or anything like that. I'm pretty easy to find. And
do you have a website?
I do have a website. Yes, maybe that's Richard Newman VO. I'm not really good about the social media thing, I have to say. I had a friend who set all this stuff up for me, and I have to say that I don't keep up with it as well as I might. But then
RichardNewmanVO.wordpress.com.
That's what it is it?
Yeah. I've just found it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'll put it in the description of this interview.
Super.
So, guys, thank you so much for watching this interview. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you, Richard. Thank you so much for being so patient.
Really great to meet you. You take care.
Yeah, you too, Richard. To you guys at home, thank you so much for watching. It's goodbye from me and Richard. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
And cut.